Welcome back. So I got a question for you. And the question is, what are you fighting for? Okay, pretty simple. And what that means is a lot of the times we're fighting for something, and usually it's an outcome. And I want to make sure, and I want to ask you if you're fighting for the right things. You're fighting for what you need to fight for. And what I mean by that is most people fight for an outcome. It's what they get. It's, I fight, I win, I get. I want to lose weight. I want to lose 20 pounds. I'll do what it takes. I'll fight. I'll lose 20 pounds. I win, right? Rather than fighting for who we become. Okay, now, if we fought to lose 20 pounds, we could do it. We can increase activity. We could eat different foods. We could do things we don't like temporarily. There's a lot we could do. But if we were fighting for who we were going to become, then it's how are we becoming a person who's 20 pounds lighter and stays that way? Not losing 20 pounds. We don't have to give up anything. Our new lifestyle would be 20 pounds lighter. So how do we fight for the habits and behaviors that allow us to become that person for the rest of our life? And this is in all of these areas in regards to health and fitness. If we want to be pain-free, right, what are we fighting for? Are we fighting to exercise? Are we fighting to be pain-free? Are we looking at all the variables and behaviors that we could do on a regular basis? For most people, honestly, most people, it's a no. Okay, there's always a little bit of something more we can do. Now, some people just have pain there's nothing we could do. There's nerve damage, there's biomechanical things that are just not working, right? And that could require specialists and surgeries and a lot of different things that can have a lot of fear around them. And what we want to make sure is when we're making these decisions, we're doing everything we can correctly. So for example, if I want to live a life that's pain-free, I want to have energy, like abundant energy. I want to be full of life and vitality and all of these wonderful things. Am I doing all of the things that I can do to get that? Now, for most people, that's a no. There's always going to be something. So it might be getting more sleep. It might be drinking more water. It might be taking a multivitamin. It might be stretching. It might be mobility work. It might be a recovery day. It might be a massage. It might be pushing ourselves a little bit more than what we have been doing. It might mean scaling it back a little. But what are we fighting for? And the question is, are we fighting the right fight for who we want to become? What we should be fighting for are our habits. We want to develop the habits that will allow us to become, as a byproduct of having these habits, the person we want to be forever. So it doesn't mean cutting out all the foods that you enjoy. Let's say your whole diet is based on foods that don't contribute to your long-term goals in terms of health and fitness. Well, what are replacements that you enjoy? If you have to go through your whole life eating things that you hate, that's an awful place. And it doesn't mean you do everything the same day. That's why we're becoming something. It's where we're fighting, right? ING, it's a verb. It means it's action-based. It doesn't mean we have it. It hasn't been fought, okay? What we want to do is we want to take the correct actions in regards to becoming who we want to become. So let's say somebody says, I really enjoy, I'm trying to think of something, Meat Lovers Pizza. Okay, with extra sausage and linguiça and pepperoni and double cheese. I'm just trying to think of things that could go on this, right? I am thinking of an extreme. And let's say they eat a whole large pizza every time they go. And I'm saying part of this from my own personal history because that's a part of who I was. I would do that, and I wouldn't just do it once a week. Okay, it was terrible habits, folks. I mean, I had terrible habits. We'd probably go get 1.5 pound burgers 3 days a week. Now, it's a lot of meat for a 1.5 pound burger, plus bacon and double cheese and all the fried onions and peppers. I mean, the whole 3 times a week on top of our pizza, our freaking forearm long burritos, everything. I mean, we would eat. So when I say all these things, they're coming from experience and having lost, I don't know what it is now, 75, 80 pounds. Like, it's a lot of weight. If you see some of these pictures of me floating around, I mean, it's just neck. I was a big boy, okay? And I didn't diet. I didn't do any of those things. But what I realized, I didn't like the way that I felt. And I was fighting for the wrong things. I used to go out with my buddies. We would find these food challenges. We would do all this stuff. We would go out there. We would eat these things. We would brag about how quickly we ate it, then how bad we felt. Like it was this joke that was going on, but it was this, self-driving mechanism that reinforced terrible behaviors because each of us were not happy with who we were or becoming at that time, right? We would do these things, but we would also want to be fit. We would do these things and also want to feel good about ourselves, and we never could, not at the way that we wanted to. So when I say these things, I say them from experience. It's not stuff that I read in a book and I'm sharing. That's why these changes are so small most of the time. So here's what happened. Did I change everything? No. It was probably Tony Robbins was one of the first guys that I heard say this. He's like, listen, if you're going to go out and eat what you want to eat, make it 80% vegetables first. Well, I didn't know any other way. So I went out and I was like, you know what? I'm going to do that. And I'm going to fight to get 80% vegetables, 20% protein. Now, when I'm thinking of volume and I'm eating something that's this big, that's a lot of salad. So by the time I'd start getting to the other stuff that I was going to have, and the rule was I have to have that first. So I'd eat the salad and then I wouldn't eat that whole thing. Okay. So that was one way that I did it. The other thing was I didn't do that so many nights a week. I think I took one night or maybe 2 nights, and instead of going out, I just went for a long walk. I got audiobooks back when they were on CD, and I would just walk for ages. I mean, we just started walking. We just keep expanding. I mean, we would walk to friends' houses, one side of town to the other. And these are long walks, multiple hour walks. And it wasn't because I was trying to not eat food. I really do enjoy walking. So for me, if I could listen to something that I enjoyed, sometimes it was music, and I would do that instead of going out, I got to build this connection with myself. I got to feel good. I got to learn in the process. Those were things that mattered for me. The things with my friends, we still did those, but sometimes we made different choices. Sometimes we went to different places. If we were going to go somewhere like a big, I don't want to give any names, but let's say we're going to this big national chain that has a novel for a menu. They have everything that you can think of on the menu. Even though it wasn't the best food, I would still get their massive salads. Because even though there's fried chicken and there's barbecue sauce and there's fruit and there's all this, in my mind, I felt like I felt better. And I did mentally, which reinforced me wanting to do more. As we begin to fight these fights, as we begin to check the battles and the habits that we want, what do we want and what are we fighting for? Who are we becoming? So when we start making our decisions around our goals, about the outcomes we want to do, let's try to think about the behaviors that are necessary to become that person, not the result of what that person has done. It makes a big difference. And I hope this video, what you're taking away from it is, it doesn't have to be, this big thing. You could start, let's say I would eat a 1.5 pound burger. Again, another example. And I'm trying to do good. So I get a salad and a regular burger, like a 1/2 pound burger. And let's say I eat that and I wait, 20, 30 minutes and I'm still hungry. Do it again. Like, I'm not kidding. I know it sounds silly, but this is the kind of stuff that worked for me. For my burritos, okay? Actually, I'll sidetrack this in a second here. But for my burritos, I got rid of the tortilla, and then we started doing burrito bowls and things like that long before it was cool. Like, it was just something that I'd actually read about in the 4-Hour Body. Love that book, okay? Slow carb diet, 4-Hour Bodies, all kinds of really cool stuff you can cover in that. Really enjoyed that book. And when I saw that book, this is years ago, again, I've been in fitness health and fitness for about 25 years. A lot of information, a lot of different goals. When I was a big guy, I could lift a tank. I had so much strength and power in my body, I could just lift like you wouldn't believe. My buddies always used to call it farmer strength. Like I was just baling hay all day. And when I saw this book, and this is, I think, close to my heaviest, and it wasn't even on my mind. Like it wasn't on my radar. I just remember how I felt. And the book said, you can lose, 20 pounds in 30 days. Okay. And I liked Tim Ferriss. I'd already read his 4-Hour Workweek book, and I've read his other books since. And it was one of those things where it was like, what if it worked? Like, what if it worked? So I sat there. I remember the day I bought it. I was sitting in Target. I literally sat on the ground there, and I'm just reading through it. I probably read half of the main chapter half of the main section I needed to read. And I was like, yeah, right? Because there's 3 questions we're always asking. Is it simple? Does it work? Can I do it? So I'm putting that through the filter. I'm going to sign up for a fight. This looks like a battle I wouldn't mind getting into because I would like the results. But what is it that I have to do? So I go, I check it out, and, picked up this book. Started the very next day. Went to Vitamin Shop, got my supplements that I needed, mapped out all of my meals, and I didn't even do it the exact same way. I stuck to what you could eat, but I ate as much of it as I could until I was full. And here's what happened. I was losing about 1 pound to 2 a day that first week or two, okay? A lot of weight. Then it starts slowing down to about 1 pound to half a pound a day, but I also noticed my portion sizes shrunk significantly because I was literally eating all the lentils and beans I could, all the vegetables I could, like leafy vegetables and things like that, and all the lean proteins I could. And then one day a week, I'd have this massive cheat meal because that would work for me, right? Remember, I ate like a horse, so I needed that in my life. I go through this thing, dropping. I ended up losing 31 pounds in 28 days. Kept it off. I still eat like that, 80% of the time because I like it. It works well for me. Might not work well for you, okay? But that changed my thinking. Now, since then, a lot has changed. And for me, those habits in that book worked really well. For other people, they might not. That's why we have to start with where we're at. It could be anything, okay? I was still exercising at the time. I was still doing a lot of stuff. Let's say you're not there. You're not there. You've been sitting for a long time and making a lot of hot Cheetos and Mountain Dew decisions, okay? Good. So that means you're in a position where any action you take based on that outcome you want is going to move you in that direction. So think about the behaviors of the person you want. Maybe you don't want to go for gold, right? Maybe you just want to start moving and feeling like you have a little bit more energy. Maybe you want to lower your blood pressure or cholesterol. Maybe you got diabetes and you need to get that in check. Think about the behaviors and fight for those behaviors so you can become a byproduct of the behavior, right? Not an idealized version of something we might not achieve if we're looking externally. Let's pick up the behaviors, try them on, do things that work, add congruency, and let's take our next steps from there and see where that takes us and how long they last. I hope this video helps. I know it's a little all over the place. If you got questions, comments, put it below. I don't make any money off the book. It's just a great book. So yeah, if you're thinking about that, pick it up, take a look. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next video.